Nani?
Okay, let's see here. I think I'm going to get started with first is the dessert because that's going to take time to bake slash air fry and also be able to, well, and also be able to cool because like the egg salad sandwiches are easy to assemble and everything because the stuff for that is already prepared. Do that. The recipe I've written on my computer. I'm actually going to go ahead and take a picture of that to make sure I have it. Also gonna get a few ramekin things because that's how much this is just like the right amount of like dough for per like serving. Let's see. Hey Mailbox, how you doing? Might need a bigger bowl for this, but that's okay. I got a backup bowl anyways. Plus we're gonna save this bowl for like the whenever you make desserts, it's always about like combining wet and dry ingredients. We're gonna use this as the wet ingredients bowl. We're gonna save this for the dry ingredients. Yeah, what's up? What's good, Mailbox and Ramen? Of course, I'm not going to heat a whole stick of butter. I just need to cut into like smaller pieces so that way it melts easier. If you're fancy schmancy enough, you could use the double broiler format, which a lot of chefs, what they would do is they would take a glass bowl, heat it over some boiling water with melted chocolate in it. I'm gonna set that aside. That's... How many tablespoons of butter is that? I think that's plenty of tablespoons. You know, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just finished brushing the cat. Ooh. Daily cat toad needs a brushing, I guess? Still got some sugar from last time. Now we're going to use some crushed coffee grounds because having crushed coffee grounds could actually really activate flavor in chocolate. I'm actually going to let this, let's see how many tablespoons I have. We're going to actually let this heat up first. Makes sense, makes sense. Oh, what's up, Boo Boom? It's a long time no see, I guess. 'Cause I don't see you anymore. I mean, everybody gets busy. I don't blame you. No, I'm not wearing a hat today. I don't know what's with you and hats. I do like my hats, but not this month. If you're not on Discord or Twitter, I did say I'm doing like a No Face November challenge. Alright, so I'm going to take the time to make sure that the butter and the chocolate stir together. Even though it's usually best with like baking chocolates, this is just what I have in hand so far. So I think there's like a very stark difference between using like melted chocolate chips and baking chocolate. I mean, boobum, it's in the title. What I'm making in the kitchen. Yeah, this needs to get melted down further, but I need to make sure I have the coffee grounds in here first. It looks a little bit nasty now, but it should be smooth once I give it another blast in the microwave. Right now, working on the dessert portion, the lava cakes, because those will take a little bit more time than to get an egg salad sandwich prepared. So. I think these should be fine and grounded enough, so I can like add them in. And giving the coffee grounds some heat will actually activate their flavor. Even though like coffee grounds is a dry ingredient, it's somehow it's a little bit of a note I like decided to do to like heat it up with the melted chocolate and butter. Oh, you're not gonna be staying, Boobum? Or are you just busy again? I don't blame you though. Everybody's lives are different now that COVID is happening. Now I'm trying to get like every last bit of whatever coffee grounds I have into here. Alright, so that should be good. Just about good. Alright, so I'm gonna blast this in the microwave again. Oops, daisies. It's always gonna be a mess. It's always nice to keep a paper towel in hand. think at this point our butter and chocolate mixture should be well incorporated, along with the coffee grounds that we have in here. So I'm just going to give this another mix. Making sure that this is all smooth and incorporated. Feels a little bit more even when I'm using baking chocolate rather than chocolate chips. This is the first time I'm using chocolate chips for this. And regardless, I think this looks just right. This might be pretty good for the lava effect too. Now this actually looks pretty smooth and consistent. This kind of consistency is what we're looking for in our liquid mixture. Alright, so the chocolate mixture is done. I'm going to leave that to cool for a little bit. And then we're going to prepare our little dry ingredients. I'm actually going to finish preparing the wet ingredients so that way I could be able to reuse some of the ingredients that I had last time. So that way this doesn't go to waste. This is the cinnamon sugar I made last time for the cinnamon roll. So we're gonna get that nice and melted. All in there, nice and melted. While there's still a little bit of residual heat left in here. And if this thing doesn't come out as sweet as you want it to be, you can always throw some powdered sugar on there, because lava cake always tends to be served with powdered sugar. Also, ice cream helps too. Every other restaurant I know will always put powdered sugar and or ice cream to accompany a lava cake. So, right that way we have just about maybe 2.5 tablespoons of sugar in general with a little bit of cinnamon. This will give a nice hint of aromatics for the chocolate. So overall I feel like most of the prep work comes into the wet ingredients for this, because when you're making a lava cake, it's there's not a lot of moisture content involved. The only type of moisture you're going to have, as much as a lot of people hate that word, is going to be the inside. And scientifically this recipe works. I don't know how, but it just works in the air fryer amazingly. This is like speaking from experience from making brownies in a toaster oven, actually. Even though brownies and lava cakes have like different ingredient portions and different structures. Okay, so that should be good. I'm just gonna add a little bit more sugar because I'm not really so sure this will be sweet enough. Because you really can never be too sure. Actually, let me taste a little bit. It's a tiny bit more. There's another thing I want to say regarding coffee grounds is like, when you heat them up, the flavor gets like really, really strong. Alright, so I'm just going to put a little bit more brown sugar. Just a little bit more. Just a little more where it doesn't hurt. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this to balance out the sweetness because sometimes a little bit of salt just goes a long way. So once this cooled down a little bit, we're going to add a couple of eggs in there too. So what else does my recipe say? So in terms of wet ingredients, I think I'm almost done using the wet ingredients. So sugar, butter. You can also use like brown butter, which is basically like the French technique of roasting the butter in the pan, which will allow butter to actually make a more mellow and very rich flavor. But at the same time, it's nice to use brown butter and this brown butter is also a thing that can be used on steaks. The thing is with brown butter is that when you're using it in dessert, you run the risk of letting the dessert lose moisture. And that could be good, that could be nice for cookies, sometimes brownies, but it really depends. It's pretty subjective as to when you want to use like brown butter. And plus it's, if you don't know how to like properly make brown butter, you can easily burn butter in the pan. So, alright, so we're then going to be using 2 eggs. We're going to use a teaspoon. Oh, I need the vanilla extract actually. I need to grab that. Here's a fun fact. We're using vanilla extract. If you need a teaspoon, just use the cap. The cap is basically a teaspoon. There you go. This is the last extract. Oh, that's just perfect. The right amount of extract. I don't think I'm going to be baking for a while anyway, so this is fine. so we're going to stir the vanilla in here. I was just getting the eggs, making sure they're right up to temperature. Because a pretty good technique with, if you're not waiting on your dairy products and eggs to come to room temperatures, just heat them up in warm water. Which is actually how I got the cheesecake in my latest cheesecake recipe to come to room temperature a little bit quicker. Hey, what's up, Air T? How you doing? Okay, so we're going to make sure this egg is evenly incorporated. And we're going to put in the other egg. I think the egg white's got a little bit heated up, but that's fine. It's all going to be, like, constituted together anyways. So all we need after this is adding a little bit of self-rising flour, which is basically a combination of baking powder. I think it's either baking powder or baking soda plus regular all-purpose flour. Because there's plenty of stores out there that don't directly sell you self-rising flour. So... Okay, looks like our wet mixture is completely done. It's nice and velvety smooth. Seems like it's all combined together. I'm gonna throw in a little bit of salt in there soon, and then we're gonna pop this in the air fryer. First of all, we need to have the air fryer be preheating for like a good 10 minutes is fine. Thankfully, I still have some self-rising flour to use. Okay. So all we need to do for the dry ingredients is basically add 1/2 tablespoons of self-rising flour. Let me just clean the tablespoon a little bit so we don't cross-contaminate. This looks just to be about like 1/2 tablespoon. This is like half a tablespoon I'm putting in. Alright, so that should be good for the self-rising flour. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of nutmeg to kind of give it that chocolate donut note. A teensy pinch of salt, because a little bit of salt can definitely go a long way. Alright, there we go. Alright, now we're going to combine the ingredients together. I'm going to do this little by little so we can get this nice and incorporated. So if it's a dessert that widely depends upon its like integral structure that is not completely carb heavy, a little bit of flour goes a long way, in which you don't need a lot of it, which can be said for cheesecake, pretty much typical New York style cheesecake, brownies, the fudgier kind, and now this. Let's make sure this is fine. Let's also make sure that our mixture is fine too, considering we're still combining our ingredients. Okay, it looks like the dry and the wet ingredients are pretty good for right now, and then I can slowly but surely add in the rest of this. So it's starting to become like that of a chocolate cake, actually. Although it's not going to be like... It's going to be structurally composed, but it's just not going to be like a chocolate cake that a lot of people remember. Because this is a lava cake, not an actual typical chocolate cake. If it was a regular chocolate cake, it would probably have like a lot more dry ingredients than this amount of wet ingredients. Which also makes all the more difference in brownies, of course. Except the ingredient portion for brownies is a lot more, I guess, even. Like 2/3 to 1/3, or like 3/4 to like 1/4, and the smaller fraction / percentage would be for the dry ingredients. I'm a fudgy brownie person, but even then I can't be... It's like a very technical recipe to be able to master. It's a very, very technical recipe. Just like New York style cheesecake. Somehow I managed to get a pretty good hand on the New York style cheesecake I have in the fridge right now. Don't know how, don't know why, it just works. So this recipe I actually adapted from a recipe I saw on YouTube for an air fryer lava cake. I just sort of adjusted the different portions of it. I kept most of the recipe the same and decided to add in my own fixins. And of course my air fryer doesn't exactly have the temperature the recipe asks for, so I just rounded up to the next closest thing. So once your entire mixture is like evenly combined, all you have to do is put it into your prepared vessels, in which case I have like a few ramekins over here, because this mixture just has enough for 3 ramekins and stuff. We're just gonna grease these bad boys and bad girls. This is how sinfully amazing this lava cake is. It's always important to like grease your baking vessel, your baking trays, your baking whatever, because it makes all the difference when you're baking to like not only release the whatever you're baking out of it, but also at the same time it gives it a nice caramelization on the side. Yeah, exactly. Happy accidents, indeed, indeedy. So I'm gonna get these nice and integrated, and make sure that little bit of butter is all used up and that it's nice and greased, so that way we won't have trouble. Because in case you want to actually remove this from the, if it was brownies, I would put some cocoa powder in there, because you can just eat this directly from the ramekin and vessel itself. There's really no need. If you want to pop it out for presentation purposes, that's totally up to you as well. If this is olive oil, it would actually be pretty good for the skin. Because olive oil really actually has pretty good skin caring properties, as well as coconut oil as well. If you were to consume coconut oil though, consume sparingly, as it is a vegan butter substitute with a lot of saturated fats. But at the same time, if you're making a vegan recipe with saturated fats, obviously coconut oil is the go-to substitute. I get to actually try this recipe like in a vegan form, but I'm 100% sure it could still work. I'm semi-open to trying vegan options, but at the same time it's like, he sacrificed like the original like integrity and flavor of the original recipe. Alright, so we're just going to carefully place dollops of these until we actually get even mixtures all around. Oh shoot. This might get a little bit messy depending on the consistency of your mixture. Right now that the preheating is done, let's make sure that we have our layers evened out, so that way these guys can bake / air fry. Because these little dudes are still gonna. Whoop, this is kind of slippery. These little dudes are still gonna rise, so you want to make sure that the surface is as even as possible when they're rising, so that way you can have a bit more of a smoother bottom. Whether you're actually keeping this in the vessel, or you decide to pop it out for presentation purposes if you're doing like an Instagram thing. Okay. Alright, let's make sure this is as smooth as possible. Let me also make sure I get some this last leftover dough into whichever one is missing some dough. I think this one in the middle might be lacking a little bit, so I'm going to put some of this in here. Okay. Desserts are just intensive to make in general, and very, very meticulous. I don't even say that word often. Meticulous. And plus, the thing is with like a lot of recipes, now that I recognize it, is that the measurements are never going to be 100% accurate, because as you can see, there's still like leftover mixture in the bowl, so you're leaving out a small fraction of stuff left that you're going to be washing away. So that's why it's usually as best as possible to like get whatever mixture you can out of the bowl as hard as you can. Because even if you don't get like the full 100% mixture, you can still get like 99.9% of it. Okay, I think these are good. So, here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to pop these bad boys and girls into the air fryer for a good 7 minutes. They may not be done after 7 minutes, but because we're letting them cool, in order for the exterior to actually harden and become solidified, so it actually traps the lava inside, that's what we're going to be doing. So we're giving this a certain level of cooking time, just so it can get, so all the food molecules and all the science, the gastronomy can work itself. All the food chemistry can do its magic. Can do its science and stuff. I'm actually going to clean the edges a little bit, so that way it's a little bit presentable when it pops out. Okay. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using. And it just fits. You can't completely see that, but it fits all three of them. Alright, so now that that's preheated, we're going to pop these little dudes in for 7 minutes. And this was preheated at 370 degrees, although to be exact, it should be 375. And we're going to let this go for... That's just my mouth. 7 minutes right here. And afterwards, we're going to give this time to cool down. Because that's how the food science works, apparently. I don't completely understand how lava cake science works, but it just works. Especially for the air fryer. Anyways, just focus down for now. Alright, so now, time for the savory part. Which is the easier recipe for today. It is just egg salad Sandos. Japanese-inspired egg salad Sandos, actually, because the flavor profile of a Japanese egg salad is, I guess, slightly different than your typical westernized American one. So, I overmeasured some butter, so I'm going to put that away first, before I forget. This butter can be used for other baking purposes and stuff. Alright, so for our main mixture, we're going to be using this bowl right here, because it's going to get a little bit messy with all the fixins that we're going to be doing for the mayo. And of course, it can't be a Japanese egg salad sandwich without some Kewpie. I mean, you could also make your own Kewpie if you want, but it's a lot more convenient to have this on hand, and plus honestly, it's much freaking better than regular mayo, honestly. Because one of the solid differences between regular mayo and Kewpie Japanese mayo is that this thing is really amazing, in which that it primarily uses egg yolks, not the whole egg. It does make a lot of difference. Okay, so first and foremost, we're gonna take some soft-boiled eggs. We're gonna take the... Okay, I'm gonna make sure to pat these dry first. We're gonna do, I guess, 5 eggs. If you like the egg salad a lot more chunkier, you could put in more of the egg whites. Usually it would be like more yolks and less whites because that's how like the Japanese love to do it. But it's all on individual preference, of course. All on individual preference. Alright, so we're going to cut these down in half this way. Also, let me make sure that the focus is on the eggs. Probably doesn't want to focus right now. Alright, let me get something for the camera to focus on. There we go. Now it decides to focus. Alright, so let me make sure to cut these eggs in half.
Hi, how are you?
This yolk looks just about right. So I'm going to put the egg whites to the side as we're going to be needing the yolks first to make the egg salad. Hey there, Potato, how you doing? We got... You didn't miss out too much. You came in time for the savory portion. So right now we're making the egg salad Sandos. We got the lava cakes heating up in the air fryer. It's a good thing I took care of the more difficult recipe first. Oh. Speaking of bad boys. Okay, so we need these to cool down. Alright, so I'm going to be taking these, just carefully take these bad boys out. I think this is a recipe that Wheezy wants to, like, make too, because, like, she really wants to know my recipes for herself so she can make it for the fan band. Alright, so these have been heating up for a good 7 minutes in the air fryer. 7 to 8 minutes is fine. Anything past that is just gonna overcook it. So we want these to actually cool down, like, a lot in the meantime. So I'm gonna set these aside while I work on the Sandos. And by the time we're done with the Sandos, these should be good. The exterior should be solidified enough so that way it can hold whatever molten lava is right in the middle. Honestly, it's actually surprising because I least expect an air fryer to make really amazing lava cakes. So we're going to set these aside. They're going to cool down, they're going to deflate, but they'll still be amazing. Alright, now back to the egg salad. It's like actually cracking eggs, but not really. Alright, last but not least. The final egg. Also, if you go to any Asian household, we literally can't exist without eggs. It's literally part of our diet, alongside soy sauce, eggs, rice, noodles, sugar, salt, bunch of other things. Alright, so we have our egg yolks in here. Into this we're going to add in some Japanese Kewpie mayo, which is this lovely bottle of amazing umami-ness, alongside salt and sugar. That's just basically what Japanese egg salad really is. I'm going to add in another fixins that reminds me of. I'm going to add another fixin that just reminds me of regular egg salad too. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there. I think what I'm going to add to this, besides salt and sugar, is for a bit of kick. We're going to add in a little bit of turmeric. I really love to use this ingredient. It's a Middle Eastern spice that's it's actually pretty good for you. You can add this in stews. You can add this in a lot of savory recipes. Plus, the color scheme of this actually goes pretty well too. And a lot of Western egg salads have paprika, so I'm going to add a little bit of paprika to give it a little bit of a kicker. I don't want to make it any more complex than that, though. Alright, so we're going to need a good old-friendly tablespoon again. It feels like today the tablespoon is our best friend. Ooh, potato salad. You're going to be serving up more of potatoes' sacrifices. So we're going to be using the tablespoon because we're going to need to measure out the amount of sugar, the amount of salt, and the amount of mayo that we're going to need in here. Okay, so into the egg yolks, this is the boiled egg yolks, we're going to be adding let's go ahead and add 1.5 tablespoons of sugar for now. So that's 1 tablespoon. Then we're going to add 1/2 of it. If we need to add more sugar, I'll add accordingly to taste, but I think we should be good with 1.5 tablespoons. Then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of Kewpie. gonna mix this all together to combine. I'm actually gonna grab a new fork for this, actually. And we're gonna add some salt and sugar if necessary before adding in the extra fixins. Hope you picked the finest of my potato children. I bet Mailbox will. I bet Mailbox will. Alright, so we're gonna mash the egg yolks up. Mix that in with the mayo. This might be sweet enough. It probably just needs the salt. That's it. They make sure that I get all the Kewpie out of this tablespoon, actually, so that way we can incorporate all of it in here. I think we have just the right amount of Kewpie, though. Just the right amount of Kewpie Japanese mayo. It's maybe about 8, and my family's making potato salad for Thanksgiving. I wanted to help out, so I put the salt in, but I misread the recipe of 2 tablespoons of salt to 2 cups of salt. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Mailbox. Oh no, but then again, you were little, so I could see how you were able to like misread it and everything. Okay, I really need to taste this. I think it tastes just about right. It just needs the salt. It literally just needs salt. Do a pinch of salt. So this is what the mixture looks like, folks. It may look like a little bit for now, but we're going to add the egg whites in, which will thicken this up anyways, a little bit. Actually, it's just perfect. That's actually not a bad flavor. Alright, let's pizzazz it up a little bit. So I'm going to add in a little bit of turmeric in here. Just a little bit. And then we're going to add a little bit of paprika. Just so we can like pizzazz the flavor a little bit. I get a hint of it, but not too heavy. The main profile of the flavor profile of the egg salad is just right. Okay. So I'm just gonna chop up 2 eggs. we're going to throw that into the egg salad. I think the rest could still be used for like a salad recipe or something like a separate salad recipe. Yeah, it seems like egg salad's pretty typical for a lot of get-togethers, like barbecues and whatnot. That pasta salad and potato salad, although it can't be really 100% considered a salad, it's just their own thing for some reason. Then again, American cuisine has evolved over time to be like really eccentric, really weird. I think like during the early days they put like gelatin in a lot of things, and I'm like, how the heck does that work? Like I watched a lot of like videos of like how Americans like ate and lived during way back in the day before I was born, and I don't know what's the obsession with like putting gelatin on stuff. It's really weird. Then again, like things are rationed back then too, so you have to make do with what you have. Let's see here. Alright, so I'm cutting up one more egg's worth of egg whites. Mix that into the egg salad, and we should be good. Got a bit of cucumber to chop up to pair up with the salad, too. Anytime you go to like an Asian store that might have this egg salad, or like you're gonna find it in Japanese convenience stores, or konbini as they say. I think Anthony Bourdain. Yeah, Anthony Bourdain says he likes the one from Lawson. Lawson is a very popular, very renowned Japanese convenience store franchise that you would probably find at every other corner. And Anthony Bourdain just so happens to like the Lawson egg salad sandwiches. This is still easy to make at home, though. Anthony Bourdain's such a legend, though. Like, he is blunt, but I do appreciate his honesty when he's giving, like, food reviews and criticisms and stuff. What's my microphone doing, actually? Oh, my microphone's still hanging in there. I'm surprised. Okay, so now that we have, like, this much egg whites worth of... yeah, this much egg whites, let's mix this in. You can like make this as an afternoon tea kind of thing, and it would work pretty well, considering that like afternoon tea time would serve up like little sandwiches and whatnot. I think the only actual time I had an afternoon tea time was on a cruise ship once. We didn't have, I don't remember us having breakfast, but I don't think we had lunch either, so we went to the cruise ships. I probably could use a little bit more egg whites in this, actually. Kind of like mine a little bit chunkier. A little bit chunkier. I'll do one more egg white. Like half an egg white. And instead of like breakfast or lunch or brunch or whatever, they served up afternoon tea, actually. Which has some little sandwiches, some lovely tea to drink. It's pretty energizing, revitalizing. god, just looking at and like tasting the ingredients just making my stomach growl even more. Usually I'm a person who skips out on breakfast, but I would have this any freaking day. Alright, this is just a little bit more egg whites. Just a little bit more. I think this looks like the right consistency between chunky and smooth. Yeah, this looks just about right. Okay. It's time to assemble. So, I'm gonna save these egg whites. Actually, need to give it one more taste test. Oh my. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more paprika and turmeric on this. Just a little bit more. But not exactly too much to the point where it's like overpowering everything else. Just adding in the paprika just so it has that that little twist, because deviled eggs does have paprika in it too, and I think like typical egg salad does have paprika as well. I actually like the way this is turning out. Okay. Oh, I'm getting a little bit more of the paprika. I think this is just right. Has a little bit of a kicker. Alright, let's assemble. Actually, first of all, before I assemble that, gotta take care of our cukes. Our little Kirby cukes. It's more aesthetically pleasing to slice a cuke at an angle, actually. There we go. Just take the stem pieces out. Just gonna be gutsy and get that one extra piece. Typically what the Japanese also do is when they're assembling the sandwich, they would remove the crust, actually. So we're going to take this bread, and then... You could toast if you want, but I'm just not going to toast this for the sake of keeping up with originality. You could save like the bread crust for like maybe like you can make these as croutons actually. Save these as croutons. This bread is really crumbly too. Let's try using a scissor actually. It's a little bit smoother with a scissor. A little bit. Okay. That looks pretty symmetrical enough. It's a pretty good picnic recipe too when you're like setting this up. So I just try to best to evenly spread it all on top, whether it be chunky or not, or smooth. It's all egg salad, and it's pretty rustic. By the way, Potato, how much sleep did you get last night? I think I saw Wheezy like stream for like 10 hours or something on Stardew Valley. I'm going to... Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. So, I'm going to spread an even layer of cubes on this one. Adding in the cubes will actually help to cut back the rich flavor of the egg salad. That's why I'm like throwing that in there. Plus, it's kind of refreshing. The flavor profile should actually like give you like a kicker. And I'm actually going to spread like a thin layer on the top here. So that way we have the adhesive that it will stick, that the cubes will not fall off. So I'm going to spread a thin layer on here. I could use like a thin layer of mayo, but like with all this egg salad, I might as well just like do a thin layer on top of this one. So that way we have the adhesive on here. There we go. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Just carefully assemble this together. Okay. It may not be the prettiest looking sandwich, but at least it should be the most appetizing. I think I'll go ahead and make another one, actually. Because I might as well. Set this aside. Add a couple more slices. perfect. It's about enough for 2 sandwiches. Alright, just so I can try it out for myself. That's actually really refreshing to taste and to try. Like, really, really, really refreshing. Like, you have the richness of the egg salad, and then you have the crisp coolness of the cukes. It really, really feels just right. Actually, we could actually like use these extra bread crust as dippers, so you can like eat it like this from the bowl. I gotta try it with a cucumber. This is a pretty good sampler you could have right here. Now that's just right. Now that's a sandwich. Alright, so while that is done, our lava cakes have come to a cool, so... Actually, hold on. I'm gonna do the flip over test. let's see if this works. I guess this one's stuck, so let's see how it is. Oh, it pierced through the top. Oh, what do we have here? We got lava. The inside is molten lava. This is bonkers. This is completely bonkers. This recipe gets me every single time. And stupidly amazing. Try to get a tiny scoop of ice cream, even though like this thing is completely cooled down. If you leave this in the fridge, of course the lava is going to lose its effect, but I think if you heat it up in the microwave, it should still be fine. This dessert actually really goes well with ice cream. Also, I am not sponsored by this brand. I just decided to take some ice cream and try it with this. I think at some point in time I could make like a trendy YouTube video of how I made this like lava cake, because it's ridiculous how amazing it came out from the air fryer. So I don't think I'll make like any other lava cake recipe the traditional way again, but like, this is just the right way to go. Has a note of chocolate in it. I think the flavor is really amplified because we added the coffee powder in it, the coffee grounds. Because adding coffee grounds to a chocolate recipe, like, it 100% makes all the difference to amplifying the chocolate flavor. I don't really get like a huge taste of coffee either. It has the right amount of sweetness. You got a little bit of bitterness as well. Even though I did not use cocoa powder, because cocoa powder usually would be the thing that you would taste bitterness from. But if you have an air fryer, this definitely would be a really nice dessert to make for date night. This is absolutely a must-make for a picnic. Should be good. The things that I would say regarding like the lava cakes though is that it does really make all the difference with the temperature, the amount of time you air fry it for. The cooling time does matter too because that's when everything comes to the right temperature. The exterior, the lava, the molten chocolate inside and everything. And you can experiment with the air fryer like temperature if you want, or you could try this recipe out in like a smaller oven, a toaster oven or whatnot. I think this came out just right, and I'm pretty surprised by the result of how it is. And it couldn't be easier to like make this sandwich either, honestly. And I would say like if you could toast the bread if you want, but it's usually traditional to just keep it non-toasted. And also, it's optimal to also include like a cool vegetable like a cucumber or pickled carrots, pickled cabbage if you want. Some kind of like something else like produce to cut back on the richness of the egg salad. Although traditionally, the Japanese would just keep it pure and plain simple. And I think there's like a department store in Japan that would sell the egg salad sandwiches with like a soft boiled egg inside. Now that's, if that ain't eggy and insane, I don't know what is. But in any case, I think I might head into intermission pretty soon to get this sorted out, and probably swap over to some Genshin for some dailies and world missions for today before we get onto the final part of the meteorite event starting tomorrow, which we're going to have a good week for. That's going to be the last of the cutscenes with Fischl and Mona and whoever else is going to come into play. I think the guy from Inazuma who introduced himself is going to be back. We'll see what happens. I didn't see any leaks or proofs of anything coming up yet. So, I'm going to be right back real quick, folks, and play a quick advertisement.